You might be able to tell it's early morning and I'm down on the river trying to catch the barbel. I came for a walk along this stretch yesterday. It's incredibly clear and incredibly shallow. We've not had much rain, so it's not looking in great form, but did manage to find some barbel yesterday. I wasn't actually fishing, I was just walking up and down the bank, which I do quite often around here. You know, it's fairly local to me, so I can drop in on it now and then and just have a bit of a look. Took quite a lot of searching. Like I said, no rods with me, nothing like that. Came into this area and they're way upstream of where I've been catching them before. And there was a couple of nice double figure barbel just sitting in the edge. So I thought, right, I'm coming back for you in the morning, and that's where you join me now. So quite quickly after getting here, I had a chub almost straight away. I was worried that that fish might have disturbed the swim, but I got the rod back out anyway. I put it slightly further downstream and had to be a little bit more patient. Like an hour or so passed, and the rod tip went round, and when I hooked into this one, I really did think it might be one of the fish that I saw yesterday.
I had to be patient there, but we've got one. It's not the bigger ones that I saw yesterday, but it is a barbel. I was actually just wondering if we should be switching to meat. Kind of glad I didn't. Oh, come right into our feet. Just had to be patient there. Look at him go. Here he comes, here he comes. He's in. Smashing.
I was just thinking about swapping to meat from the pellets, but the rod bent round. Not one of the big ones we saw yesterday, but he will do. We'll keep fishing and hopefully we might catch up with one of those bigger ones. So like I said, this stretch does seem to go quite quiet through the middle of the day. So I'm only doing short sessions at the start and the end of the day. And I thought I'd go through a few things that I do to try and get the most out of those short sessions. The first thing is to prep your gear at home. So, you know, your rods, your rigs, your bags, everything that you need for the session, that all needs to be done at home, I think, so that when you do get out on the bank, you're maximising your time. On these small rivers, I prefer to use a rod that's 10 foot long. I would say a 4,000 or 5,000 size reel is probably about right. Onto this reel, I have got the 12-pound Barbel reel line. I'll quite happily step that up to 15 in some of these confined swims. You know, I'd rather go too heavy than be snapping up on snags and stuff like that. You do need a bit of power. On the 12-pound line, I have got the bolt and run kit there. Onto that, I will either put a small pear lead. These fish are very spooky. It's quite shallow water here. It's only about, 12 foot wide, and sometimes need to sort of sneak a bait in. So a tiny little pear lead is a good way to go. Sometimes what I might do is use the smaller of the gripper leads. Obviously, if I use one of those, I can put a little bit of bait in it for extra attraction. So I might do that. Onto this, I have got the river hair rig, a ready tied rig. It's 12-pound breaking strain. It's got a size 10 hook and a hair rig there. And as you can see, onto the hair rig, I've just put a couple of pellet O's. Sometimes I might want a little bit more strength in the rig when I need that, when it is really snaggy and really confined. What I'll do, I will step up to the 20-pound coated braid. Onto that, what I will do is add a little kicker. That is a size 10 grappler hook, which I feel a size 10 is about right when you're using pellets. and I am using pellets more and more these days for barbel. And I just put a bait screw onto that. I do it with a D-rig. I put the bait screw on, and that allows me to just quickly screw on pellets as and when I need them. Now, tying up a rig like that, it is a bit of a faff, to be honest, just to tie it up in the first place. But that does then pay dividends later on when you really are just quickly wanting to screw on a couple of pellet hose and you're not having to mess around with baiting needles and bait stops and stuff like that. One thing I want to pick up on quickly is the hook. Go with a hook that you've got a lot of confidence in. It does have to be really strong on this sort of river. The other thing that I would say is this has got a beak point, and that's quite intentional. The bottom here is quite gravelly. I have tried using straight points down here, and a straight point I find on gravel will turn over much quicker than a beak point hook. The bait that I'm using on these sessions is predominantly pellet. That's on the hair, but also what I'm feeding in. And what I would say with this is that I keep those pellets quite large, 6 or 8 mil. I don't want to get these fish grazing. I'm setting little traps, trying to get in and out, get a fish quite quickly. And so I will use the 8s, you know, if the water's a little bit deeper and I've got a little bit more flow and I want to be get a much better idea of where they're landing. And the 6mm, I'll generally tend to use those when the water's a little bit slacker and a little bit more shallow. On those pellets, sometimes I add a little bit of oil just to give it a little bit more punch, bring those fish in a bit quicker. The only other thing that I might sometimes do is I will sometimes put a little mesh bag just on the hook, just to protect that hook point on that gravel again, but also to add just a little bit more attraction around the hook bait. I thought I'd quickly mention a few other things about short sessions on these rivers, on small rivers like this. I would say be on the bank frequently. I found these when I wasn't even fishing. I was just wandering up and down, stumbled across where they were holding up. The other thing I would say is, yeah, get up early. Get up early and stay late. Definitely set your alarm, be here certainly for the first couple of hours of daylight, last couple of hours of daylight. Don't put in too much bait. Remember, you know, if we're doing a short session, we're just trying to nick a fish, maybe 2. So yeah, don't go heaving loads and loads of baits in. You're just setting little traps. By all means, bait up more than one spot. I do sometimes do that, but be quite mindful not to start chucking bait everywhere because these fish are moving up and down the river. So yeah, don't go too crazy. And finally, on these small rivers, short rods, short rigs, and yeah, rod tips down. Use bat leads if you need to, but don't go putting your rods up in the air like you see in the videos. Put your rod tips down, have that low line lay, and then you can actually get away with using these fairly short rigs that are quite handy. You know, long rigs are really hard to cast underneath canopies and things like that. So if you are wanting to use a short rig, which I often am, make sure you've got those rod tips down and you've got a nice low line lay. Well, as you can see, I'm back out here again. On that last session, I struggled to get bites as the day progressed, which does seem to be the pattern here. Had a couple of fish and then it completely shut shop. I didn't do any filming when I got here first of all this morning because it was too dark, but I did get a fish almost straight away.
Yes. It's a very early morning. We've got what we're after almost straight away. The light levels are probably not great. It is so important to get up early though for these fish. If you're not up early, they just seem to disappear by a certain time. It's a very shallow stretch. Having to have quite heavy tackle to boss these fish in this Oh, small river, he says, as it bolts away from the net. And again, just be patient. He'll come, look. Gonna let him go again. Ain't scooping him, gonna enjoy it. He's got so much fight in him. They are so powerful, aren't they, these fish? Come on. This time. Yes. So, seems in this swim, you've only got a couple of hours after first light to get a fish, and then it just shuts up shop completely. That's what happened on the last session. I've had this one quite quick. Hopefully I've got time to get another. So very happy with that. Not a huge fish, but any fish on these short sessions, that's all I'm after. I'm just after a bite or two before, as I say, it does seem to dry up here. As soon as, you know, you get too far into the day, you know, a couple of hours after daylight, and it just seems to go very, very quiet and almost impossible to get a fish. So happy to get anything. I have now put the rod back out. I don't hold up much hope of getting another one. You know, it really is a matter of coming here and snatching a bite at a time. But you never know. I'll give it another 3/4 of an hour or so before I leave the river to it and get on with my day. So here we are. Here's what we're doing. Spicy sausage pellets, just glazed with some of the sonobaits, oils. Just these bad boys on a bait screw. No hair stops, no faff, straight on a bait screw, 2 of those on a long bait screw, little mesh bag on the hook, and that really is it. That's all I'm doing, little traps. So there are fish down there. I can see them, you know, the water's quite clear and it's quite shallow. And I'm sort of like tucked behind this sort of hedgerow here, and I can see the odd shadow coming in and out. I would have my Polaroids on, but they're under such a dark canopy that they make it even harder to see them in this situation. There's definitely fish down there. Like what looks like one of the better barbel. Yeah, it's a bit better. Sea fish down there. Whoa! Do need this strong tackle. Look at that fight. He's a better fish. They do fight. That's 2 bites on this early morning session, which is pretty good actually. I thought it was one of the bigger ones. It's not. But good to, you know, if you get a couple of bites on these short sessions, then that's good enough. And here it comes. There we go. Smashing. We have got another one, which normally they spook off after one, but I've had this one. A little bit bigger than the last one. Still not some of the big ones that I've seen in this swim. But I might have to come back for them another day. I hope some of the tips in the video helped you on your short sessions. And good luck in your fishing.